What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Triple Threat Talk. I'm your host, Connor Ryan. Episode 9. Wow, we are here. Hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everyone got their Black Friday shopping done, got their Cyber Monday shopping done. You know, good weekend for me, a good weekend for sports in general. Spent time with my family. My grandma came. Good friend of mine, Alex, joined my family and I for Thanksgiving. Got to see some friends who were visiting from out of town, which was really nice. But yeah, we're gonna kick right in. We're gonna get right into it. Gonna cover Friday, Saturday, and Sunday games. I will give out my picks for tonight's games, aka Monday night picks, even though it won't really matter. Hopefully I go 4-0. And then I'll also give out my picks for the NBA Cup games on Tuesday. There are a lot of games to go through, so we'll go pretty quick in that segment. And then also some Instagram questions. So pretty standard episode today. Again, hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving break. And yeah, I mean, might as well get right into it. Nothing really crazy to talk about, but let's do it. All right. Friday night NBA Cup matchups. We're going to cover 4 games from Friday, 2 games from Saturday, and then 4 games from Sunday. First game from the NBA Cup on Friday, Hawks at Cavs, Cavs at Hawks. Hawks defeated the Cavaliers 117-101. Second time, actually, last week that the Hawks defeated the Cavs. The first time was in Cleveland due to a Trae Young 20-20 game. He had 21 points and I think 22 assists, I want to say. But this time was much more of a standard Trae Young game. He had 21 points, 11 assists. Jalen Johnson had 20 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists on 64% shooting. And DeAndre Hunter, who has been kind of getting back into his rhythm after rejoining the lineup after kind of starting the year with some injury issues, had 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. And for the Cavs, Evan Mobley, 24 points, 12 rebounds. Darius Garland, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists on 58% shooting and 63% from 3. But the main concern was Donovan Mitchell, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists on 22% shooting. The Cavaliers it is a loss, no doubt. Like, it is like, you could very much chop it up as a concerning loss, but they also just got a pretty big win, which I will talk about when we get to the Sunday slate of games. It very much is result Donovan Mitchell not playing well, and that's just how it is sometimes. This is the NBA. You're going to have, they're human, and that's great to see. They're not everybody's going to have a 30-point triple-double every night, and while it is tough to see the primary scorer of the Cavaliers not have the best scoring night, it's just the Hawks have a very good defensive team. They have Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels and DeAndre Hunter. Those are 3 very good wing guard defenders. Jalen Johnson's more forward defender, but you know, it is very fitting that the Hawks have 3 wins, again, one being against the Celtics on the road. One being on the road against the Celtics, a win on the road against the Cavs, and then a win at home against the Cavs, and then also have 2 losses against the Wizards. If that doesn't explain the NBA in a nutshell, then I don't know what does. Sure, I know people are gonna be worried and about how good Cleveland is. I think this just says to the talent the Hawks have. Very balanced scoring from 3 of their top players, and also just a very good defensive team. Clint Capella is very good defensively. Dyson Daniels, as I mentioned earlier, is very good defensively. Like, they are a very good team, and when you have a catalyst like Trae Young that attracts so much attention, when you have somebody like him that can distribute the ball so well and effectively, open up passing lanes that you may not have even realized were there, being able to see the floor so well, and being able to help manipulate an offense better and better and further as the season goes along, it really speaks volumes to the type of player he is. I feel like he does get the respect in the East because there aren't that many true like point guards in the East where you can say like, oh yeah, because like when you think of the top 3 point guards, a lot of people are saying Luka Doncic, Shea, and Steph, but Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, and Trae Young is up there. Trae Young is definitely like, I think Jalen Brunson to me is the number one point guard in the East, but Trae Young, I would say, as of right now, is number 2. And then it's like LaMelo is like creeping up into that 3rd slot. But then obviously you have Dame, and I feel like there are a lot of underrated guards in the East. Not in so much like people know they're good, but they just aren't really like the upper echelon that of like the Stephs and the SGAs in the world. No, the Hawks are a fun team to watch. Very athletic, very, very quick, very good defensively. Trae Young, I guess, is their only really negative defender. But when you have Dyson Daniels, you don't really have to worry about the primary ball handler being that main focus kind of situation. So for the Cavs, I mean, Donovan Mitchell will have a game like this, but also he is one of the most trustworthy scorers you can have. He has the ability to cook anybody, doesn't matter who's defending him. Darius Garland is continuing to have a great season, and he showed it in this one with great efficiency. Evan Mobley is really taking his steps into showing like, hey, I am one of the elite big men in the game. I wish to create a little bit more spacing, maybe kind of shooting the ball a little bit more. But again, you're not gonna nitpick at a guy who's 7'1", moves like a guard, has great footwork, has great post presence, great defensive ability, and really just try and force him to say, yeah, man, you got to be able to shoot the 3. Like, not everybody has to be perfect at everything. It's like Tony Allen made his living as being a defensive nightmare for Kobe, for Carmelo, for Paul Pierce, for Dwayne Wade. Like, those guys were getting like locked up by Tony Allen. Tony Allen wasn't like the offensive threat that people had to worry about. And that just shows like kind of like the range of like, hey, like you can have a player who is literally this role and they impact winning. So I don't think Evan Mobley needs to. Would it be nice? Sure. Is it necessary? No, not at all. So, but overall, great win for the Hawks. Back-to-back wins against Cleveland. They are for sure in the in-season tournament with that win, and then with the Celtics beating the Bulls on Friday, and we'll get to that matchup in a little bit. But yeah, congrats to the Hawks. Very, very good team, very young team, and I wouldn't be shocked if they're not only just in playoff contention this year, but for years to come. They have a very, very talented team and just a great roster. Quinn Snyder is also a great coach. I wasn't really sure of why he was let go from the Jazz. I think it was probably just Danny Ainge kind of saying, I want to get a reset in regards to like the entirety of the team. Like Donovan Mitchell was leaving, Rudy Gobert left. And I think they just wanted to clean house, get a new refresh, rebrand kind of going. So Quinn Snyder, I think, is a great coach and is really developing that team in Atlanta very well. Next matchup, Orlando Magic defeat the Brooklyn Nets 123-100. Franz Wagner led the way for the Magic with 29 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists on 60% shooting, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with 19 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists on 87.5% shooting from the field and 80% from 3. This is what the Magic needed from KCP. His elite level shooting ability, his high prowess on defense, and also just his veteran championship DNA. He is the kind of the leader of that locker room in that aspect of saying, slow it down. We know what we need to do. We know what it needs to be done in order to get where we want to go. The main question was, after Paolo went down, is how are the Magic going to survive? And they've done it. They've done exactly that. In the last 13 games, they're 12-1. And that one game happened to come in the middle of 2 6-game winning streaks. Franz Wagner, I think, should be an all-star this year. He's playing at an all-NBA level. He's leading that team and in just being that guy and stepping up and stepping into that role, taking the clutch shots, taking over the big moments, making sure his teammates are involved. He's being a great leader. But I think as much as people want to talk about the Thunder defensively, people need to give recognition to the Magic defensively. Goga Bitse is an incredible interior threat. Jonathan Isaac has incredible length. Jalen Suggs was drafted as a defensive threat and just needed to continue to work on his offense while it was present. but to really flourish in the NBA, knew that his offensive production was going to be a little bit needed a little bit more, and that's what he's done. He has consistently been scoring at high levels. KCP is stepping up. Like, this team is a threat to anyone, and especially in the East. Like, I think there's a 4-horse race in the East, and it's the Celtics, the Cavs, the Magic, and the Bucks. We'll get to the Celtics and the Bucks in a little bit. The Magic are a legit threat. Anthony Black is developing. This team is very young. They're very similar to the Hawks, but I think they just have a little bit more star power. And actually, not even a little bit, a good amount more star power. And to go 12-1 in a 13-game stretch is very impressive. But to do it without your best player it speaks volumes to that coaching staff, speaks volumes to the entirety of that team. And I guess my only concern for them is their offensive production at time is lacking. But I mean, they have a good enough defense to make up for it. They have length all around. They have just scrappy guys who will get on your hip, make sure you don't have the best shot available, make sure rotations are where they need to be and everything like that. And it's just a really good team. So Magic, I think, are going to be a massive threat in the East. So it's great to see. For the Nets, Shake Milton had a really good game, 22 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 54% from the field. Cam Johnson, who I think has been very underrated for the past couple of seasons, I think he deserves a lot more credit with his ability. We are definitely seeing it more, especially with the absence of Cam Thomas and obviously Mikal Bridges being no longer in net. Cam Johnson is really stepping up and saying, hey, I have this versatility. I'm not just a defensive guy. I can create my own shots. I can get to the lane. I can drive. I can pass. I can shoot. And really just like is accentuating like his value. I wouldn't be shocked if he's moved at the deadline because of how valuable he is and how much like another team would need him maybe. 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. That's a very good player. I wouldn't have him as like a number 1 or a number 2, but he's a very comparable, very confident number 3, I would say. And like, for example, I think he would be a great fit for like, if he went back to the Suns, I think he would be really good. I think he would have moments with the Warriors where he would really flourish. The Bucks, I think, would be a great fit for him. But I think what he's doing right now is great. I think the Nets are just struggling. Cam Thomas going down really hurts them a lot. But they just ran into a juggernaut in the Magic. I mean, we saw it. So shout out the Magic, though. Really good team. So next matchup. I know people are going to be shocked. I didn't start off with talking about the Celtics, but we're going to talk about them now. Celtics defeated the Chicago Bulls 138-129 on Friday, led by Jason Tatum's 35 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists on 67% shooting and 50% from 3. But the real player of the night was Crypto P, Peyton Pritchard. 29 points, 7 rebounds, 63% from the field, 64% from 3. A lot of the question... Also, Kristaps Porzingis, second game back, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 64% from the field. A lot of the questions with the Celtics has been, who is the top dog? And it's clearly been Jason Tatum. It clearly is. The national media is recognizing that it is Jason Tatum, and the apologies are well-deserved. But a lot of the next question is, how do the Celtics play in the non-Jason Tatum minutes? He does have one of the highest plus-minuses in the NBA currently this season. The plus-minus of the Celtics when he's off the court is only +2, which isn't great. Peyton Pritchard has been a huge part of the non-Tatum minutes. Usually how the Tatum rotation works is Tatum will play the entirety of the first quarter. About the 6 or 7 minute mark in the second, he'll come back in, play the rest of that quarter. Third quarter, generally will play the same, and then it's the same thing for the second half. So play the entire third, 6 or 7 minute for the fourth. JT will sit out, come back in on that 6-7 minute. Peyton Pritchard decided, I got this. I'm going to go to the Pro-Am courts. I'm going to do what I do best. And he rattled off 19 points in the fourth quarter with some of the craziest threes and just really well executed. He has really developed as not only just a 3-point shooter, not only just as a playmaker, but as a 3-level scorer. We're seeing him take it to the hoop a lot more. We're seeing him do those midi pull-ups, even those little bump fadeaway mid-range shots. I feel so confident when Peyton Pritchard has the ball in his hands. I feel like any shot he takes goes in, and I'm also not surprised when any shot goes in. He had a play on Taylor Horton-Tucker where, driving with his right, I think he took a screen. Taylor Horton-Tucker hedged the screen, went over it, and stayed on his hip. And Pritch shifted back so far that he kind of caught himself, like he fell a little bit, caught himself, and even made like Tucker like take an extra step or two. Takes a step back, drains a 3. And it's like, not many people have that balance. Not many people have that ability to kind of catch themselves like that, reset, and then hit a big 3 like that. So shout out Pritch. Celtics won that game by 9. So really helps with the NBA Cup situation. But the Bulls didn't go down easy. Nikola Vucevic, 32 points, 11 rebounds. Zach LaVine, 29 points on 50% shooting. Taylor Horton-Tucker, I mean, the epitome of how he looks on the court is saying like, oh, we have MJ at home, but he played like MJ. 16 points on 86% shooting, 100% from all four of his 3-point attempts. So 4 for 4 from 3. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Nikola Vucevic, I am sorry. If you listen to the first episode where I kind of talk about my concerns, my questions for the beginning of the season, or just the entire season in general, I brought up Nikola Vucevic not really adapting to the game, not really adapting to the new play style of the NBA, and kind of just being more of like a mid-post, low post kind of player. And I remember as soon as I said that, I was like, I'm going to look up his stats just so I'm not going crazy. And I was wrong. He was shooting very efficiently then. And I know he didn't hear it. I know he didn't hear what I said, but apparently he did, because he shot 6 of 9 from 3. That is better than anybody else on his team, and that was the best percentage on the entire night from that game. What baffles my mind is why aren't the Cavs said, yeah, our asking price is 2 second-rounders. A center who would help most teams win right away is worth 2 second-round picks? That's not true. That's a first. That's a first-round pick and maybe another player for Nikola Vucevic. I get it. He's on the older side. He isn't in his prime in terms of athleticism. But 11 rebounds, like averaging a good amount of rebounds, has the ability to stretch the floor, moves well, and like pretty solidly defensively. That is more than just 2 second-round picks. And he proves it right here. So shout out Nikola Vucevic, man. Really good player. Zach LaVine, I mean, made some really tough shots, but the Celtics pulled that one out in the end. Joe Mazzulla calling a timeout with 1.4 seconds, and Sam Hauser doing his best Larry Bird impression off one leg, fading away into the Bulls bench and just draining it. That's what the Cup is all about. I guess real quick, for the Celtics to make the NBA Cup, I think it's 2 situations. They need the Magic to win against the Knicks, and then they would need, I think it's the Pistons to either win by 6 or the Bucks to win by 7. And then it's, if the Knicks win, they would have to win by 36 or more, and then it would be the same thing with the Pistons and Bucks. As much as I would like to see the Celtics in the in-season tournament, it isn't the end of the world. It would be cool to help out like the younger players and get them some bread. But obviously, we've done what we can. Unfortunately, we dropped that game against Atlanta a couple weeks ago. So it isn't in our control, and we just have to wait and see on Tuesday night. But shout out the Bulls, man. Really good team. Very good team. And yeah. Final game from the Friday slate. Thunder defeat the Lakers 101-93. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, as much as he is, I think he's the best point guard in the league. Luka isn't anymore. I think in terms of impact, it's Shea, and then maybe I think Luka and Steph are like 2A and 2B, however you want to have it. But it's Shea. It's Shea. 36 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. How people kind of talked about Luka with like his pace of play, it's the same thing with SGA. He doesn't rush. He doesn't force anything. And also just for his size, like he's a surprising kind of 6, and he moves so well. Very good defensively, has very good hands, very good length, but he is the driving force of that offense. Jalen Williams, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, 11 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. Those two, I think, complement SGA so well. The Thunder are the best team in the West, and this is without Chet, in my opinion. And they obviously only get better with Chet, not only defensively, but rebounding wise and also mismatch wise. Chet will end up probably playing more of like a stretch 4 kind of scenario, maybe, but then they can also put him down at like a 4 and he can just go to work because of his height and everything and his length. The Thunder are a real threat. I have them coming out of the West to play the Celtics in the NBA Finals. They're a very good team. And with SGA at the helm, there are very few teams, in my opinion, that can stop them. I know J-Dub went out of this game, I think, a little bit early with an injury. It might have been this game. I can't remember exactly. But that lineup is so loaded from top to bottom that there are just plenty of people who can provide. Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe, Lou Dort. Those are 5 guys who I think Lou Dort starts like in a perfect lineup. I think Lou Dort would start, and obviously Chet would be playing. But those are 4 guys off the bench who I trust, or who I would trust, and say, these guys can help winning basketball in impactful ways. For the Lakers, Dalton Knecht led the way in scoring with 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Anthony Davis, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 blocks. LeBron with a 12, 8, and 6 performance. 39% from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. I think he's 0 of 20 in his last 23-point attempts. I don't have a concern in terms of like, oh, is LeBron like losing a step? The man is 39 years old. I would be shocked if he hasn't lost a step. Do I think he should be taking as many threes as he is? Probably not, but tough defense. The Thunder are a tough defense. They move well. They have good rotations really quick. But I mean, it really is like crazy to see like, hey, like this is a declining LeBron. So it's really unfortunate, but I just think with the Lakers it is getting tough because like you aren't having very good guard play other than Austin Reeves. I'm more so talking about point guard position. D'Angelo Russell hasn't been consistent. Gabe Vincent finally had his first double-digit scoring game of the season. You're paying that guy $33 million, which is very concerning. Jackson Hayes is out. Jared Vanderbilt has been out all year. The defense just isn't really there as much as people were hoping. AD and LeBron are aging. So they're obviously going to be in win now mode because of LeBron. There's no denying that. My concern is just when do the Lakers kind of say, okay, we need to pivot. We need to take a look and say, we got to move on from what we have and rebuild. But hey, I feel like if you have LeBron on your team, you have a chance. He's obviously slowing down a little bit, but it was an uncharacteristic night for sure, but it is what it is. All right, 2 Saturday games. First game, we got the Bucks versus the Wizards. The Bucks defeated the Wizards 124-114. Jordan Poole, 31 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Malcolm Brogdon, 29 and 11 on 67% shooting and 100% from 3. And Corey Kispert, 16 and 8. The Wizards are a very good team, very young, and I think that is kind of their only flaw. Jordan Poole has been playing really well, averaging in the high 20s in terms of points per game. Malcolm Brogdon is playing efficiently. Bilal Coulibaly has kind of had a little bit of a spurt in terms of not really playing his best. Corey Kispert, great to see that he had a really solid game. But I mean, the story of this game was Giannis and Dame. Damian Lillard, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 42 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. If Nikola Jokic wasn't an NBA player, Giannis would have probably 2 more MVPs and would be I think he'd be on track to like win his 5th. Like, I think this would be like, because I think last year and then the year before Embiid won his, so 22 and then 24 would probably be Giannis, or maybe Shea last year, but still, I think Giannis would have 3, and then this year would probably be his 4th if it wasn't for Luka Doncic or for Nikola Jokic. He has been playing ridiculous. The Bucks are, I think, 8-1 in their last 9 games. They're above 500. They are a threat, and I know people were panicking at the beginning of the season, and the panic was fair. A lot of it was just trying to find rhythm, like with the new team. When you have a team that you don't have your third option there, you're bringing in new guys, like you take away Malik Beasley, you put in a Gary Trent Jr., you bring in Taurean Prince, Andre Jackson's getting more minutes, AJ Green is getting more minutes, Bobby Portis is going to be asked to do more. You kind of got to take some time to figure that out. They figured it out. They are a threat, no doubt about it. And I think it will really be interesting moving forward in terms of saying, hey, we are still the team that won a championship a couple years ago, except we just got a better scoring guard. Defensively, that is my only question. I know Chris Middleton brings that kind of defensive forward or defensive like forward/guard ability. Damian Lillard obviously is not the defender that Drew Holiday is, but Drew Holiday is obviously not the scorer that Damian Lillard is. So I think it will be interesting to see. I do think they'll make a push. I think they'll make a push to get another player, not only just at the trade deadline, but to really lock them down in Milwaukee. And then also I think they're going to make a push in the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked if they're in the conference semifinals with either a matchup against the Celtics or a matchup against the Cavs or the Magic. So the Bucks are back. If there was any concern for any Bucks fans out there, I would definitely take a deep breath and say, like, a little bit of a sigh of relief and say, we're back. I do think they are on a step below, though. I think they're on the same tier as the Magic. I just think they're a step below the Cavs and the Celtics still. Especially, I think they're 0-4 against the Celtics and the Cavs combined this season. It is what it is, but Bucks are still a very good team, no doubt about it. Last Saturday game, Suns 113, Warriors 105. Steph Curry with a 23.7 rebound, 4 assist performance, with Andrew Wiggins 18, 3-3, and Brandon Podziemski with 12, 7 and 4. Devin Booker led the scoring for the night with 27 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Kevin Durant, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. And Tyus Jones, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. I'll talk about the Warriors and then I'll get to the Suns. The Warriors, as much as I love the depth idea that Steve Kerr is doing, there's only so much that depth can get you. When you get in these high pressure games, when you get into the playoffs, when you get into the later rounds, you got to trust who you know you can trust. Sam Hauser, for example, did not shoot well against the Indiana Pacers. He didn't get really that much playing time. He earned that trust back in the finals by hitting down some big shots in game 1 and made up for it. Peyton Pritchard, same thing. Al Horford, Luke Cornett. Those are the bench guys that the Celtics trust. I don't think that going into the playoffs, any Warriors fans wants to go, yep, Moses Moody is our bench guy, is going to be a guy that we're going to trust on to score. Jonathan Kuminga is a guy that we're going to trust on to score. Like, I think Pods has the ability to score really well. Obviously, Steph, Andrew Wiggins, no doubt about it. But Pat Spencer is not going to be a guy that you trust to score. Lindy Waters is not going to be a guy you trust to score at a consistent level. Do I think they have a chance to make a deep run in the playoffs? Absolutely. They need another piece, though. They need another reliable scorer to take a little bit of the pressure off of Steph, to take a little bit of the pressure off of Andrew Wiggins. What made Andrew Wiggins so great in those 2022 finals was how effective Klay Thompson was the effectiveness of Steph Curry. The Celtics had their third best defender. It was probably Derek White or Marcus Smart was on Steph. JT or JB was on Klay. That gives kind of an island on Andrew Wiggins. You're going to be focusing on your two primary guys or the opponent's two primary guys. That opens up the space for the third. It's the same thing with like a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Sure, there are some really good wide receiver 1s who can command that offense. But if you get a second one, like the Rams, like Puka Nacua takes up that corner 1 or Cooper Kupp takes up that corner 1, then boom, the other one is going to have a chance to be open. That's the same thing with the NBA, is if you have a third guy to alleviate that stress that you know that you can trust, then that's going to really help you. Drew Holiday was that third guy for the Bucks. Derek White was that third guy for the Celtics, or has been for the past 2 years. Kind of that, hey, I'm open, I can hit the shot. If you don't have another guy, then that is very concerning. And I get like confidence and trust and everything, but when you get to those later stages, you need that third person that third playmaker, that third shooter, that third scorer that you can get the ball to and then say, all right, I feel good about our chances about getting a bucket here. If they get a third, then they're definitely a bigger threat in the West than people want to realize. So for the Suns, big game, defeating a team like the Warriors after the kind of the slump that they've had with the absence of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Big. I think they were without Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic this game. Devin Booker was doing everything he could to keep the Suns afloat. He kept them afloat. Sure, they got their head under the water a couple times, but even just the presence of Devin Booker, that is greater than anything. Like he could have like an off shooting night. You're still going to have a guy that's on Kevin Durant's hip or within like an arm's reach of Kevin Durant, because he's Kevin Durant. He's the best scorer in NBA history. You can't really defend him that easily. If you are able to take away a team's best defender, a la Draymond Green, and have him on a threat like Kevin Durant who can still score over him, that is demoralizing for a team to face. It is, because it's the simple factor of I did my best to try and stop him, and you just couldn't. You couldn't. And for a team like the Suns that really are banking on their star power, what the time of injury with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal did was increase the confidence of the Royce O'Neals, the Grayson Allens, the Ryan Dunns, and say, hey, we know you can score. We need you to score. And they say, okay, I know what that situation is now. I'm going to be there for when I have more space, for when I have less pressure on me because of the other guys coming back. And that is going to really help with their team development. And also, when you have a performance of 19 points and 9 assists from Tyus Jones, that is only going to push you further. The leader in assist to turnover ratio for the past couple of seasons is feeding the ball to two of the best scorers on the planet. That is a recipe for success. Tyus Jones was one of the best signings in the NBA this past summer because of his ball security, because of his playmaking ability, and getting it to Devin Booker and getting it to Kevin Durant only makes his job easier. So shout out the Suns. Big win for them. Sunday's games. First up, Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Boston Celtics 115-101. Big whoop. I'm kidding. Cleveland defeats the Boston Celtics 115-111. The Celtics came into this game without Jaylen Brown and Derek White. Sure, you can say it's an excuse, whatever. Donovan Mitchell, 37 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Darius Garland, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Evan Mobley, 9 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. The Cavs are legit, and they were down. I think they were down 9 with about like 4 or so minutes to go. Sam Merrill hits a big three, and then the Donovan Mitchell avalanche happened. Donovan Mitchell had 20 points in the fourth quarter and did not miss a shot. He was 6 of 6 from the field, 4 of 4 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line. He is one of the best scorers in the world, and it's for obvious reasons. He is the number one in Cleveland. Darius Garland really helped that team in the first half, and then Donovan Mitchell said, "All right, I'm up. I got you. I will help finish this thing off." The Celtics did not go without a fight, though. Jason Tatum had 33 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Peyton Pritchard had 24 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Kristaps Porzingis, 21 points, 8 rebounds. Shout out Drew Peterson for getting 24 minutes of game time, his career high with 8 points. Hit some really big threes in some crucial moments. Tough loss for the Celtics. Stinks that they couldn't pull this one out in Cleveland. Without Jalen, without Derek, that just would have been a huge confidence boost, especially going into this really tough week that they have. They have 5 games. Thankfully, 4 of the next 4 are all at home. I think it's Monday night Heat, Wednesday night against the Pistons, and then a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, with the Friday being the Bucks and then Saturday being the Grizzlies. So really tough week, but I think it's, if they don't make the NBA Cup, they get like 3 or 4 days off after that. I was like really confused when I was looking at the schedule. It's like, yeah, the Celtics have a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, and then they have a week and a half off until their next game. And then I looked at when the NBA Cup schedule is, and it's that week. So I don't know if games are going to be rescheduled or played during that time, but we shall see, obviously. The Cavs are a very good team. They very, very stout defensively. They hit big shots, and they are one of the best home teams in the NBA. They have 1 home loss so far this season for a reason, and it was a masterclass performance from Trae Young. I know we can play the ifs game, saying if Jason Tatum makes those 2 layups with less than a minute to go, the Celtics probably win this game. Donovan Mitchell misses a shot. If Drew Holiday makes a shot here or there, if Al makes one of those corner threes, the Celtics maybe win that game. The fact of the matter is, they didn't. It's a game in December. It's the first game in December for both of these teams, because yesterday was December 1st. But it is what it is. This is going to be the Eastern Conference Finals, in my opinion. Barring injuries, barring anything crazy happening, barring some crazy matchup, I think it will be Cavs versus Celtics in the ECF. And there isn't much that really can sway me from that opinion. They're the 2 best teams in the NBA per record. I also just think the 2 best teams in the NBA right now in general. True, like, total lineups from top to bottom. Cleveland is going to play through their 2 best guys. So are the Celtics. They have very good balance all throughout. They have ability to shoot from most of their players. Same with the Celtics. This could be a rivalry for I know the Cavs and the Celtics have kind of been like a rivalry since like the LeBron and Paul Pierce days. But not to, and then like kind of in the late 2010s, but not to this extent. Not to this extent for a long time has it been like a true rivalry. So I think it would be pretty interesting. I'd love to see that this matchup becomes like a very high powered, high emphasized matchup. Those boys in Cleveland know how to ball, and so do the Celtics. Would have loved if this game resulted in the reverse score, Celtics 115-111 Cavs, but unfortunately, Cavs will win this one by 4. I know a lot of people on Twitter had a lot of the issue with like you're up 3, just foul them. It's just how the game is, you know? Like, people are going to have an issue with the Celtics shooting so many threes. They're not making every one, right? Like, statistics show that the better move is to say, hey, let's foul when we're up 3. That's what the Cavs did. That's what the Celtics did. The Celtics tried to foul them. Maybe they missed a shot, and then you get the ball, boom. Maybe you hit a 3. But unfortunately, ball didn't roll their way. It is what it is. Peyton Pritchard, if he waited half a second longer, his foot doesn't go over the line, they get the ball back. And maybe they make a bucket to potentially win the game. I don't know, but it is what it is. So, just a great game, though. Really good game to watch. Rockets defeated the Thunder in Houston. Another really good matchup. This was the first time in, I think, 12 years that the first and second seed in each conference were playing off against each other. Since, I think it was December 1st of 2012, well. Let me fact check that for everyone. December 1st, 2012. Back then, it was Brooklyn versus Miami in the East and Memphis versus San Antonio in the West, which is crazy to think about those four teams nowadays. But, is what it is. Really good game. Rockets pull this one out by 3. Fred VanVleet had a really good performance, 38 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Alperen Sengun had 20 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, near triple-double. Jabari Smith, 15 and 14. With the Rockets, I really do think that they should make Jalen Green the sixth man and Asar Thompson, or I can't remember which. I think it's Amen. Amen Thompson comes off the bench. Or no, comes and starts. His defense is elite. He is incredibly fast, moves very well, has the ability to shoot. He's very much improved as a shooter. If you get a lineup going of a Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, and then you have that elite, the flamethrower shot creating ability of Jalen Green, that really makes you a dangerous team. It's the same thing with how the Rockets, or sorry, not the Rockets, how the Thunder back in 2012, 2011 were like, we know James Harden can score at elite levels. That's why we're going to bring him in at the second on the bench. It brings the pressure down. It really says, hey, this is your unit. Go run it. And it gives him the confidence to say, I am this player who can score 20 points with ease. Manu Ginobili was the best in that role, saying, I will take the step back and show I want what's best for this team. If Jalen Green can read that and see that, then I think that's really what's going to take him up to that next level of not only player, but also usage. He didn't shoot very well. And I think that if you put him in a situation with kind of saying, hey, if you go in this role, you'll get the same shot opportunities, but not as much pressure. I think that allows him to play a little bit more free, and it lets him be more creative with his ability. So that's just my opinion, but it'd be interesting to see what happens. So Shea with another great performance, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. Isaiah Hartenstein, 19 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Jalen Williams, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. It just came down to the final minutes, came down to who was making the last shot, and it was the Rockets. The Rockets are extremely balanced. I'd say what the Rockets are offensively is what the Thunder are defensively. Strong rosters top to bottom. Just the Rockets have a couple of guys who are true defensive stoppers. Alperen Sengun has played very good to damn near elite level defense. Dylan Brooks is a very good defender, even though I hate Dylan Brooks. Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, those are two players who had such good length, and Amen Thompson also brings very good length and speed and quickness. There are more players on the Rockets that I trust a little bit more to score than the Thunder, but I don't think the Rockets have nearly those 2 or 3 guys that can truly score the basketball to that elite level like the Thunder do. SGA, Jalen Williams, Chet when he comes back. Isaiah Hartenstein is incredibly underrated in the post, not only just for his scoring ability, but his playmaking ability as well. This could also be a Western Conference Finals matchup, and I wouldn't be surprised. My only concern is for the Rockets is experience. They don't really have that much playoff, if any, really in the last couple of years. And I don't know if they have much playoff experience, I'd say in the since James Harden left. The Rockets are really finding themselves. They're really developing more and more into a better team. So yeah, should be interesting to see. Third matchup from Sunday, we got the Lakers in Utah against the Jazz. 105-104. LeBron had a bounce back performance, 27 points, 5 rebounds, 14 assists. Anthony Davis, 33 and 11. John Collins, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Lauri Markkanen, 22, 7 and 4. Walker Kessler, 13 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks. This game will only be remembered for one thing, though. Why did Will Hardy call a timeout with 1.6? Why? He is truly showing he doesn't have what it takes to be an NBA coach. I love Will Hardy. He was a former Celtics assistant. I think at times he's a very good coach. I think he was put into a very tough spot with the Jazz, a very young team, a very kind of a very flaunty team, I guess. I don't know the exact word to put, but it's a team that has a lot of potential. They're just extremely young, and it's a tough situation. Lauri Markkanen is a very good player. John Collins is solid. Walker Kessler is young. Keontae George is young. Jordan Clarkson is very good off the bench. But to have a coaching mistake like that was laughable. It was extremely disheartening to see that. You can't have that. You can't have you waiting back and sitting on the bench saying, "Oh, I'm going to call a timeout now," as my guy is driving to the lane for a potential game-winning layup. I understand there's the aspect that Anthony Davis was right there and maybe could have jumped up and blocked it. But we don't know if he would have. Colin Sexton put that pretty high on the glass and had it on his away side hand, in his left hand. And we really don't know if the Jazz would have won that game. Well, obviously we don't, because a timeout like that was called. But I mean, also brings up concerns for the Lakers. Shout out Gabe Vincent for finally getting a double-digit point game. But to barely beat the Jazz like that, it's pretty tough. Final game from Sunday, we got the final game from Sunday's slate. We had Clippers defeating the Denver Nuggets 126-122. Vintage James Harden performance, 39 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. Norman Powell, 28 points, 1 assist, 1 steal. Terrence Mann, finally with a very solid performance, 15 points and 3 assists on 85.7% shooting. Nikola Jokic, 28 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. Jamal Murray, 18.7 assists. Michael Porter Jr., 18.7 rebounds. This is a very good performance from the Nuggets. I am not disappointed with this performance. Russell Westbrook didn't have the best shooting tonight, and I get that. But to get this kind of night for Jamal Murray, to get this kind of night from Michael Porter Jr., you have Aaron Gordon back. It's really great to see, who defended Ivica Zubac really well, who defended kind of all levels really well. You just got hit with a vintage James Harden masterclass. 39 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. This isn't 2018 James Harden anymore. But he's playing like it. When you have somebody who is the caliber of player of James Harden, can score 40 points on pretty good efficiency, and also play make to the level that he does, that's a recipe for success. The Clippers are a legit threat in the West. I know they're without Kawhi, and I know that the dynamic of that team will shift, obviously, once he comes back. And I know we finally got some news on him that he's progressing, which is good to see. But it is pretty crazy that a lot of the concern at the beginning of the season was, are the Thunder going to get Cooper Flagg, because we were so concerned that the Clippers weren't going to be that good. They're 13-9 on the season so far. That's a pretty good team in my books. So just a really good performance from them. Terrence Mann finally stepping it up with 15 points on really good shooting efficiency. Like, low-key, James Harden should get like some recognition in the MVP conversation. I don't think he will, because with Kawhi coming back eventually, and I don't think the Clippers will be like one of those top 4 or 5 teams in the West, but they're definitely a threat, and they're not a team that should be looked at as an oversight. I know the Celtics kicked their ass last week, but that was a rare case. They're a very good defensive team. They have very good offensive power, and so shout out the Clippers, man. Shout out the Clippers. Big win against the Nuggets. So yeah, all right. Let's get to some Instagram questions. I will check on Twitter as well. I don't think I got any Twitter questions. Let's check. Let us check. No. Okay. So there's some Instagram questions for today. First question. This is from my friend Caleb Gallagher. What's wrong with the Orlando Magic? Is it bad ownership or sucky players? I had to clarify with Caleb on this one. I really did question. I was like, do you really mean the Magic? And he was like, I do mean the Magic, but not so much in terms of right now. I mean in terms of total. I wouldn't I wouldn't really say it's ownership. I think they're just the second team in Florida. I just like they haven't had a ton of draft success. Like they drafted Oladipo, wasn't the Victor Oladipo when he was on the Pacers. They didn't really have the best success right after the Dwight Howard years. They didn't really have the best success for them when it was like the 20s. But now they're getting it. Now they're finally finding it, and it's really great to see. Paolo Banchero is going to be an emerging superstar in the next 2 years. Franz Wagner has the potential to be an all-NBA caliber player. Jalen Suggs is very good defensively. Anthony Black can continue to develop. Jonathan Isaac, Mo Wagner, Goga Bitse, Wendell Carter. They just are a very balanced team. They understand their identity. They understand what they're playing for. They understand the dynamic of that team, and it's really great to see. So I would say I would chop it up to a little bit of ownership, more so the sucky players over the past couple of years. But this year, I would say they have an understanding. Like they got Paolo on a contract, they got Franz on a contract for the next 4 or 5 years. So I think they are definitely trending in the right direction. Great question, Gally. For my dad, is Duncan stronger driving to his left or right? I would say he's more of a right-handed player. For those who don't know, Duncan is my dog. He's a West Highland Terrier. He's the cutest little guy in the world. He is 15 as well. I would say he's more right. His right to left crossover, though, and also his Euro step with his right to his left is really dangerous. He can turn on a dime, no problem. He does have a tendency to, especially in his earlier years, he would have a tendency to bite the opponent, but he's getting a little bit better at that. But I would definitely say drives with his right a little bit better. Final question from Zarch. Zarch, good to see you. Ceiling for these 3 teams: Pistons, Knicks, Lakers. I'll give my quick answer for all 3 of them. Pistons, conference semifinals. Pistons, non-play-in playoffs. Knicks, NBA finals. Lakers, conference finals. Pistons, I just think they are in that, they're the upper mid-tier in the East. I just think, I think they're playing better than the Pacers. I think they're playing better than, the Hawks. They're playing better than a lot of those, kind of middle-of-the-road teams. So I wouldn't be shocked if, I think they will get into the playoffs. I think most likely they'll be in a play-in team. But if things go well, I think they're really going to kind of run the table. And I think they might even get into a playoff spot. So I think it will be pretty interesting to see. The Knicks, they have a finals to make it to the roster. They have a roster to make it to the finals. Excuse me. They have a finals to make it to the roster. It is just how far can their starting 5 take them? And we're seeing that. We're seeing with the philosophy of Tom Thibodeau and saying, no, I'm going to play my guys. You're playing your guys all right. They have 3 guys in the top 10 average of minutes. That is more than any other team in the NBA. There are some teams with 2, but it's pretty crazy that I think it's Mikal, Josh Hart, and Brunson are in the top 3. So I guess it's a little bit of a concern for me. There have been games where they could rest them, but I think it'll be interesting to see. I think they need to develop their bench a little bit more, but I'm sure that will come as the season goes along. With the Lakers, I just can't. I don't think it's more so. I don't think it's as much as the Lakers. I think it's. I don't know. Sorry. I think with the Lakers, there are just too many teams that are just ahead of them that I trust a little bit. The Thunder, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, the Suns, the Nuggets. I think those are 5 teams that I can confidently say I would rather have that than what the Lakers have right now. Sure, the Lakers have 2 of the best players in the world. They have 2 top 15, top 10, depending on who you ask, players in the NBA. And they have an MVP candidate with Anthony Davis. They obviously have LeBron James. They have 2 quirked up white boys in Dalton Connecton and Austin Reeves. That's where the line ends. Rui Hachimura hasn't been playing up to the level that people have wanted him to. Same with D'Angelo Russell, Max Christie, Jackson Hayes, Christian Cabolo. There are just too many factors. And obviously it's LeBron and AD aren't getting any younger. So I think they can make a run into the semifinals, but other than that, I don't really know who or what would get them to that next level, in my opinion. So be interesting to see. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your questions. We're going to run through these games real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games for NBA Cup matchups on Tuesday. So tonight, if you're watching this episode when it comes out. If not, it is on from December 2nd. Real quick, I'll just give my quick thoughts and then we'll get out of here. 3.5 line, 3.5 point spread for the Bucks in their matchup against the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to take the Bucks on this one. I just think the duo of Giannis and Damian Lillard are too strong right now. I really can't see them slowing down. I don't really think there's a defensive threat for either of them on the Pistons. I think that the size is a little bit there on the Damian Lillard matchup with Jaden Ivey, but they don't have the quickness to guard Dame. And then I just don't think they have anyone to match up really with Giannis. I do think this could become a little mini rivalry, kind of how we saw how it ended last time with Ron Holland Jr. missing the 2 free throws at the end of the game with what should have not been a foul. But it'll be pretty interesting to see how this one plays out. But I would take the Bucks with the money, with the spread on that one. Sixers at Hornets. I think, unfortunately, LaMelo Ball is out of this game, which really hurts the Hornets in this one. So I would take the Sixers. I'm sure Joel and Paul George are playing. And obviously, Jared McCain has been playing at Rookie of the Year levels. I think Tyrese Maxey has really stepped into a true role, like all-star level role. So I think the Sixers will cover the spread on this one. I think it'll be pretty interesting to see. Cavs host the Wizards. This game doesn't really have a ton of implications. I don't think any, because neither of these teams could make the cup because they both have 2 losses. But I think the Wizards will cover a 15.5 point spread. I just think it's too much. But I also I think the Cavs are going to win. I just wouldn't be shocked though if the Cavs either win by 20 or they only win by 3. I don't really think there's an in-between right now. So I would take the Cavs. I would take Cavs money line, but I would take maybe the Wizards. I would take the Wizards points. I just think Jordan Poole might have 40 that night, so it'll be pretty interesting to see. Knicks host the Orlando Magic. I'm going to go with the Magic. I would also take their points. 13-1 or 12-1 in their last 13 is pretty undeniable. I also feel like the Knicks at times just don't really tend to do well against truly high defensive opponents. I think they're a very good team, obviously. They have incredible scoring, but Jonathan Isaac can do a very good job on Cat. I think just defend. I think they just have very good matchups for the Knicks. So I'm gonna go with the Magic in this one. Toronto is hosting the Pacers. Give me Toronto. Give me the points. +2. Tyrese Halliburton has been playing horrible on the road. Miles Turner hasn't been playing great this season. They get Andrew Nembhard back, which is great to see, but he will be on a minutes restriction. And so it's I think I don't know if this is his first time, but Pascal Siakam is going to be back in Toronto, but having Scotty Barnes back, RJ Barrett to the level that he's playing at, Jakob Poeltl playing to his level, I would take the Raptors in this one. Jazz are traveling to OKC. It's -14.5. It should be -20. And I would still take the Thunder in that one. The Thunder are the best defensive team in the NBA, and it shows. And yeah, I would take the Thunder. Very good top to bottom. And they have very good defensive ability this time around. For the next matchup, Grizzlies versus Mavericks, I would take the Mavericks -3. And I would also take the money line, obviously. Luka and Kyrie, it's going to be tough to lose if you have those 2 guys on your team. So I think it will be not very shocking if the Mavericks, win this game by 15. But the Grizzlies do deserve their credit. They are one of the better teams in the NBA, one of the more underrated teams in the NBA, and deserve a lot more praise than they are getting. San Antonio Spurs is traveling to the Phoenix Suns. I got the Phoenix Suns in this one. -7.5 though is pretty close. I would take that spread. I really can't think of if Kevin Durant and Devin Booker plays, then I think it will be the Suns for sure. But I also just think I think those 2 are just going to be too much for the Spurs. 7.5 though is a lot, but I would take the Suns in that one. Warriors are going to Denver. Give me the Warriors. The Warriors are +3 in this one. I really do think that they just have like too many people and too many pieces to where I just think they'll like kind of just be able to tire out the Nuggets and everything, where the Nuggets don't have that many pieces or trust that many pieces. So I would take the Warriors +3 in this one. Rockets versus the Kings. Give me the Rockets. Kings have been struggling as of late. DeMar DeRozan is back, but they just don't have enough shooting on the outside. They don't have enough defensive interior presence. They don't really have much defense at all, and the Rockets have both. So I would take the Rockets somehow +1. That's my mortal lock. If you are looking for one bet, I would take the Rockets +1. It's in Sacramento, but the Rockets are just the better team. Final match of the night for Tuesday, Portland is traveling to Los Angeles to face off against the Clippers, -8.5. Give me the Clippers. The Trailblazers are a weird team. They've had some really good games, but the Clippers are playing at a level that nobody expected, and I expect them to continue that level. So just to reiterate, Bucks, I think, will cover against the Pistons. I think the 76ers will cover against the Hornets. I think the Cavs will cover against the Wizards. I think the Magic will cover the spread against the Knicks. I think the Raptors will win outright and cover the spread. I think the Thunder will win outright and cover the spread. I think the Mavericks are going to cover that 3-point. Same with the Suns at 7.5. I think the Warriors will win outright with the +3. I think the Rockets are going to win this game +1 against the Kings, and I think the Clippers will defeat the Blazers. If you had to take one bet, though, I would take the Houston Rockets at +1. And if you can get it right away, get it now. So, I mean, yeah, those are my picks. I hope you all have a great night, a great day, whenever you are listening to this. I hope you are well. If you have any tips, any things that you want me to talk about on the pod more specifically, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to listen to you. I'm more than happy to answer any of the questions that you guys have. Again, follow me on Instagram at Talkin' Triple, or at Talkin' Triple. Follow me on Twitter at the same name. Follow the YouTube. You know where I'm at. Pretty cool. Today's player is Costa Koufos. Shout out Costa. Ugly guy. That's all I got to say. Hope you all have a great night. Go Celtics, and I will see you. Peace.